Hello everybody and welcome to the live stream. So this is a new setup for me because we're live streaming to both YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you're joining from LinkedIn, hello, and if you're joining from YouTube, welcome back. So let me just double check if everything is looking all right. And yep, I think we're looking good. So why don't we try out if the chat feature works? So I am using Restream to do that. So I'm going to go to my Restream chat, and then I'm going to send you a message. So that shows up quite nicely over here. Let's see if it shows up everywhere else. It seems so. All right. Cool. So for today, I thought we were going to do something different from all the other times we were on the stream in a number of ways. So one, we're simultaneously streaming to YouTube and LinkedIn. So that's the one thing that's special. Two, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to implement and I wasn't quite sure which one to do. So my plan is to ask you to tell me what to implement, and then we'll do it together. And also, I thought, why not try Antigravity, Google's new Agentic IDE, to implement the feature. So to kick us off, let's find out what we are going to implement. So I've got this poll here where you can tell me what you want me to implement. So if you could go there, and then you can either scan the QR code, or you can go to menti.com and then use the code that's on screen and use that to sign up. And then once you've done that, we can go and get started. So I'll wait for a little while for people to join, and then we'll kick this off. And while we do that, let me make the app a little bit smaller. So you should still be able to see that. So just go in there, sign up, and then so still visible. And in the meantime, I'm going to bring the application to the front, and then I'm going to give you a quick demo of what the application does. Okay. So this basically is a read it later application, and it's mostly an iOS app until now. So you can go in and you can see all the articles that you've stored. I've just now stored an article from my own blog, but you can store other stuff as well. So here's an article about the observations framework. And typically what happens is you are in Safari and then you want to save something. So let's say, let's go to this blog here. And see what Antoine has published. So let's see. The 7 changes I do for every new Xcode project. Sounded interesting. So let's take a look at that. And then I'm like, well, a 4-minute read. I don't have time now to read it now. So let me just save it because I'm on the stream and I might want to read it later. So I can use the share sheet and then say I'm going to save it into this application. It's called Sophia, and it will extract all the metadata, for example, the title, the site name, the author name, and the excerpt, and then we'll save it. And now when we go back into the application, we should see this new article here, and you will also see that it has simplified the formatting and it's removed any additional formatting. Nice. So this works nicely on iOS, but what if you are in Safari on your desktop? So let me quickly start Safari. So here is Safari, and let's go to the same site. And now let's assume that we find a different article. So this one here, approachable concurrency. And now we want to save that. So what are we going to do? Maybe try that. And you can see all sorts of things, but there is not the application. There is no Sophia, so we can't save it. So, all right. Also, this orange apparently makes my screen flicker. That is quite interesting. So, sorry, Antoine, I might use a different example. But so one of the ideas was that I thought we could implement today is implement a share sheet or a Safari extension. So basically, where do you get these Safari extensions? Oops, not here. So I don't have an extension installed, right? So we should probably do that. So no extensions are installed. Oh, this is installed but not enabled. Oh, nice. So let's try this one out here. So create new QR code. Let's enable that. All right, so it's now enabled. Okay. So somebody's mentioning that they have an issue with the audio streaming. Let me see. Oh. Okay, so it's still working. I can still see it on LinkedIn. Still seems to be fine on YouTube. Yep, so seems to be fine. I'm not sure if this is a Safari issue. If you can, maybe try Chrome. Okay, so let's come back here. So this extension would like to access auth.com. So allow for 1 day. And now we can click here. All right. So I don't know. Okay, so apparently I need to unlock this. That's a bit disappointing because all right, so maybe let's see if we can restore purchases. Nothing's happening. All right, well, in that case, let's try a different extension. Let's try this one here. So Kaleidoscope. Let's see what this can do. Okay, so Kaleidoscope is a div tool. So this allows us to view a div of the site with different, we could drag in another file here, so we could diff the source code of the application of this page with this other text here. Okay, so this basically is how Safari extensions work. So let's see if a couple of folks have signed into the Menti. If not, let's see. So if you have signed into the Menti, just go ahead and vote for which feature we should implement today. And if there are no votes within the next minute, I'm just going to implement a Safari extension. So your opportunity to make a choice. All right, and also let me see if I can join the Menti myself. All right. You're all set. Waiting for presenter. Okay, so I'm going to vote for Safari extension. Submit. Okay, 1 of 1 responded. Maybe I'm alone. So for everybody who's watching this after the live stream, hello. But I think we've got at least a couple of viewers. All right, so also the other thing is, let me open this Menti in another window. Oh, okay. So I need to press the next key to see the responses. Is that what needs to happen? Yep. Okay. Well, in any case, I think it's fair to assume that we're going to implement a Safari extension. So let's close this and then close this as well. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go into Antigravity, and then let's find our way around. So Antigravity is a VS Code based IDE, so it looks very much like VS Code. We've got our Explorer here where we can navigate through the project. We can go into our source code here, and this is Swift source code. And I haven't installed any additional plugins, and that is why we just get code highlighting and nothing else. So for example, if I try to navigate into any of the classes or methods here, that is not possible. So we'll just have to live with that. I should probably install something like SweetPad and the Swift extension. Well, maybe, let's do that. Let's do that real quick. So Swift, where is the Swift extension? Okay. This looks good. Trust publisher. Okay, restart extensions. The Swift extension needs to update some code LLDB settings to enable debugging features. Do you want to set this up in your global settings or the workspace settings? Let's do workspace. Okay, so let's see what this got us. Okay, so we can now use go to definition. So let's try one of the symbols in the project. No definition found. That is quite interesting. It might be the case that it does not understand packages, which would be a little bit of a shame. Nope. Nope. Well, that's the reason why, I don't know, like I should probably spend more time setting up VS Code, like IDEs for working with. You know what, like what might be the case? Let's try this in a different way. So maybe this was because we were not in the correct folder. Let's try this. Okay. Okay, so overview screen, that is a symbol that lives in, nope. So it is here. We should be able to navigate there. I have no idea why that's not possible. Oh yeah, it doesn't know Firebase. So we do need to go to a place where it does have an understanding of the, yeah. Well, let's try this one more time. I mean, it's not super critical. Right, so overview screen. Nope. And it still thinks that it doesn't know where Firebase is. So maybe this doesn't work because this is an Xcode project and not a package, right? Might well be the case. So no problem, because what we want to do today is something different. So we'll open the code here. Okay, so the first thing that we should do is think about how to implement this feature. So what we want to do is implement a Safari extension that allows us to save the currently the current page to our application. So let's go back to my homepage and let's go to this article here, mapping Firestore data in Swift. So I want to be able to use an extension that's registered up here to store this into the application, right? So, and also maybe we can, so I want to have a Safari extension and I also want to have a Chrome extension. And typically I would implement one first and then the other. But here I want to make sure that we are in a safe place and that we can, that the stuff that we built today doesn't get in our way next time when we work on the Chrome extension, and maybe we can do both in one go. So let's give this a try. And at first I'm going to tell Antigravity to analyze my project. So let me Can you please analyze this project and tell me what it is about? So now it goes through the project and starts analyzing the project, and we can see what it's doing. So it's analyzing this folder here, it's analyzed the backend folder, it's analyzing the front end folder, and now it's thinking a little bit. Oh, we've got a problem here. Let's try again. Hey, Michaela. So let's see what it comes up with. So it's still loading. Okay. So analyzing the project structure. Yes, Antigravity is based on VS Code. Okay, so we've got a... is this large enough? Probably not, right? If I can read it, it's not large enough. This should be better. So we have analyzed the project and we've got the backend. The tech stack is TypeScript and Firebase Cloud Functions, Jenkins and Vertex AI. And it provides core AI features like semantic search and question answering using Gemini models. And one of the key functions is semantic QA flow callable, and that is definitely correct. Then we have the iOS app, which lives in front-end/Apple. Tech stack is Swift UI, and Firebase. And it's the user interface. We've got a CLI, which uses TypeScript, Node.js, and Commander.js. And this is for managing data, and that is absolutely correct. And then there is an MCP server that does something very similar. So, and then the project is structured to provide a second brain experience, leveraging Google's generative AI tools across different interfaces. And that is a very good description. So let's now start planning our feature. I want to implement a Safari extension and later on a Chrome extension that allow me to save URLs from my desktop browser into this application. Help me plan this feature, and later on we're also going to implement this. Please start with suggesting an architecture, and also let me know where you'd want to store the project files. So we're now in planning mode, and you can select planning and fast. And in planning mode, we'll plan before we execute tasks, and that is useful when you want to collaborate. And you can also switch to fast if you want the agent to go into autonomous mode and implement stuff without you being able to react to that. But I like my my code. I like to review my code, so I'm going to stay in planning mode. So let's send this and then see what it comes up with. Also, while we're waiting for that, you see this task file here, and this is all the tasks that it went through in order to analyze the project. And now we'll probably see another task come up in a moment where it will plan out the task of implementing those features. All right, and here we go. So browser extensions implementation. So first, it needs to research artifact creation logic, design extension architecture, create an implementation plan, initialize extension project structure, and then implement the Safari extension and implement the Chrome extension. I love how all this planning is taking up a lot of space in this list, and then implementing the extension is like, yeah, well, it's just one bullet point. So, all right. So, and one of the cool things is that while it's working, you can always go and look at the code that it's looking at, right? So for example, here it said I analyzed this code, and maybe this is a little bit large after all. Okay, so still working. So it analyzed the artifact to understand how the data model looks like. And then it looks at the function triggers. So it's trying to understand how the backend collaborates with the front end. And so that is really quite nice, I think. So let's see, a couple of chat messages came in. So let me see. We've got Lars, there's Michaela. Hey Lars. Just out of curiosity, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, can you write a chat message and say, I'm watching this from LinkedIn, and put your name or where you're watching this from? And then if you're watching from YouTube, can you say you're watching from YouTube so we can see how this works? So I've got like this unified chat interface that I can see on my screen, and what you can see on your screen is a different view. Okay, so all right, so after it analyzed the code, it came up with an implementation plan, right? So now here we see I've created an implementation plan for the Safari and Chrome extensions, and then you can click on that and it will open the plan. It already was open here, and it has this description. So goal description: implement Safari and Chrome extensions to allow the user to save URLs from their desktop browsers into the Sophia application. The extensions will capture page metadata like the title, URL, and content, and save it as an artifact in Firestore. And it links to this artifact description, which apparently is somewhere in the selected text here. Maybe not. But yeah, it's got an understanding of that. The existing backend will handle embedding generation via Firestore triggers. So, and then it mentions the authentication strategy. So the extensions will need to authenticate with Firebase. We will use Firebase Auth via the Web SDK. For Safari, we might need to ensure cookies and local storage work as expected in the extension context. Data storage, we will write directly to the artifacts collection in Firestore. And then this will trigger computing the embeddings, which we'll need for semantic search. Okay, so proposed changes. Here's the front-end structure. So we will have a new folder called front-end/extensions. That sounds good to me. Then we'll have shared for all the shared code, Safari for Safari code, and Chrome for Chrome code. We'll have a pop-up UI with a login screen. We'll have a form where we can see the title and the URL and nodes. So the URL will be read-only. We'll be able to put in our nodes, and the title will be auto-filled, and apparently we can modify that. Cool. So, and then there is a content script which extracts the page title and URL. Oh, and this is quite nice. So it says for future, it is going to extract readable content using a library like Mozilla Readability. So, and that is an interesting point, because it should do that straight away, because that is what the iOS application is doing. So what we can do is, let's see. I can select this and then leave a comment and say, well, I think that the iOS application does that already when I'm using the share sheet. So I think that we should implement this for the browser extensions as well. So add this as a comment, and let's see if there are more things that we want to comment on. Background script will initialize Firebase, handle authentication state, and write to Firestore artifacts collection. And then that sounds good. So we've got the data scheme. We will have ID, title, URL. User ID will be the ID of the authenticated user. Created at will be a server timestamp. That is correct. And then source will be extension. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, so we know from where we saved this. Yeah, why not? Okay, and then there is a verification plan. Build the extensions, load in browser, and then perform a test flow. And it's also planning to implement automated tests. All right, so all of this sounds good. So I will, let's see, submit a comment. So we've got one review comment. And what happens? Proceed with implementation plan and one comment. Let's first send the review and say, looks good to me. So let's see what happens. Okay, so while it's doing that, let me quickly check if there is a live chat in LinkedIn. Apparently there is. So let me post a comment from there. Hello from LinkedIn. But I think, so that doesn't show up in the live chat in YouTube. It only shows up on my screen here. But anyways, I mean, I'm happy for you to watch on YouTube. I just thought it might be fun to also stream on LinkedIn. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, apparently the agent thinks that it doesn't need to make any further updates. That's fair. So, oh, it updated the implementation plan. Okay. Nice. So now we're getting into business. So it has created the extensions folder. And now it's working. So while it's working, let me show you the agent manager. So this window here is VS Code, mostly with obviously the Antigravity extensions and stuff like that. But we can go into the agent manager, and this is opening on my large screen. And now let's have a look at that. And now you can see all the other things that I've been working on. And here you can see what we're currently working on. So this agent manager is useful for when you work on multiple projects, and then you can switch back and forth. And you can jump to the respective workspace. But let's go back and see what is going on here. Okay, so, and while it's working through, we can have a look at this task list here. So it completed all of those tasks. And let's see how long it will take to implement those extensions. So happy to be here. Yes, thanks for being on the stream. Okay. So the thing that I'm most interested in is, well, there are a couple of things that I'm really curious about. Oh, look at that. So it's refining the implementation plan. So there are a couple of things that I'm really interested in. One is, will it be able to implement the extensions in one go, right? So will this work? Because to be honest, it's a relatively complicated implementation, right? So it's not just a browser extension. It is a browser extension that needs to interact with the current page. It also needs to interact with Firebase. We need to have authentication. And that's also an interesting part. I didn't see it talk about what kind of authentication it's going to use. So the mobile application, the iOS application, supports both sign in with Apple and sign in with email. So I wonder if it picked up on that and if it already implemented that correctly. So that is one thing, seeing if it will be able to implement this correctly in one go, or in how many goes it will take to implement that correctly. And then the second thing is how nice it will look. So if this is going to be a nice UI, or if we're going to say, oh my God, this looks horrible. Okay, so what? The browser extension has been built and is ready for testing. Not bad. So let's see where we are here. All right, so yeah, so this walkthrough, that is another document that Antigravity creates. So we've got the task list, this one here, and you can see that it has marked most of the tasks as done. And then we had the implementation plan. Let's see where the implementation plan is. Is it still around? Yep. So here's the implementation plan. So that is the plan, or what it plans to implement, right? So it is a technical document which contains details about the implementation. And then once it finishes, it gives you this walkthrough where it says what it did, and further instructions. So let's have a look at that. So for testing, it says open Chrome and navigate to the extensions page, enable developer mode, load unpacked, select the folder, pin this to the bookmark, to the toolbar, and then try it out. Okay, all right. And already I see that this is going to be a problem. But anyways, let's try this out. So let me bring in Chrome. Okay. Cool. So navigate to Chrome extensions. Developer mode apparently is already enabled. Yeah, it is. Click load unpacked. And now we need to go to the correct folder, bundles, second brain, code, next, live stream, code, front end, extensions, dist. Nice. Select, failed to load. Okay. So, let's just, okay, so I'm going to make a comment on this one, or we've got this button here, so I'm going to do that. I get an error when loading the extension. And this is our error code. Let's see what it thinks. Okay. Okay, so apparently the video quality on LinkedIn isn't as good as on YouTube. Oh yeah, so that is because I'm streaming in 4K to, well, I'm streaming in 4K to restream, but as far as I can tell, LinkedIn only supports 1080p. So YouTube gives you 4K, which is a little bit extreme, to be honest. I mean, like, you can probably see all the the wrinkles in my forehead and count the hair on my head if you want, which is not really necessary. But I tend to think that hopefully it will also make sure that the quality of the screencast is really good. But yeah, unfortunately, 1080p apparently seems to be the maximum resolution on LinkedIn. All right, so what happened here? Oh, okay, so nice. This actually is not a bad icon. So the interesting thing is, oh yeah, it seems like there was no icon, right? Which is, the agent should have known that an icon is something that is required. Anyways, so we get the icon. It's still running. Verifying build. Yeah, so I placed the icons here, a small one, a larger one, and a really nice and large one. Yeah, I like that. I have fixed the issue with the missing icons. Please try reloading in Chrome. So let's do that. I'll just press retry. Was that it? Reloaded? Oh. Okay, so there are more errors. But let's see if we can still pin this. Yes, we can. Okay, sign in with Google. Nothing happens. Okay. Okay, so let's go here. Well, I'll better safe than sorry. What I will do is I'm going to remove this first, and then we're going to reload it. So just to be extra sure. Nope, same errors. Okay, service worker registration failed. Cannot use import statement outside a module. Well, that is one of the reasons why I dislike using JavaScript. You never know how to import stuff because there's a gazillion ways to do that. All right, so can we see this in DevTools? Apparently not. So I'm just going to copy this error message here and then say I still get an error when loading the extension in Chrome. Let's see if we can figure out what's the problem. Maybe I should have also told it that this failed. Okay, let's see. Okay. I mean, the good thing is this is so much faster than implementing it manually. So even if you have to take a couple of turns to make it work. This is so much better than spending the time to build this yourself, especially if this is a technology that you don't use every day. So it finished the build, or it's still verifying the build. Let's see what happens. Please reload the extension. Clear all. Reload. Reloaded. Oh, no errors. Nice. So let's pin this. Oh, now we get an error. Okay. Okay. So there are a bunch of errors. First of all, it can't sign into Firebase, and that is apparently caused by a content security policy. And let's see how we can fix that. So I'm going to give it this. Actually, let's do two in one go. There are actually two problems. The first one is that you're trying to use Google Sign-In, and this application does not use Google Sign-In. If you look at the code, you will find that the iOS application supports sign-in with email and sign-in with Apple. So maybe we should support those instead of sign-in with Google. The other thing is that even if I click on the sign in with Google button, there still is a problem, and I think you need to fix that first. Here are the error messages I can see. So let's take that one first, and then we're going to take that one as well and paste these here. And what about this one? Is this the same? It seems to be the same. Oh, well, no, it's slightly different. Okay. Right, so let's see. So I would expect that it would go off and fix this syntax error first, and then see if it can implement sign-in with Apple and signing in with email and password. The reason why I think it should fix the syntax error first, or this runtime error first, is that if you think about it, this seems to be an underlying problem in the way how the extension is set up, because apparently you need to follow certain rules when you run web code in your client's or in your user's application. So that should be fixed first, and then we can implement the correct authentication mechanism. Yeah. So user reported CSP errors with Google Sign-In and requested email and password auth, switching implementation to use sign-in with email and password, which avoids external. Oh, interesting. So that is interesting. Oh yeah, because we don't have to use the Google Sign-In library. Okay. So how do you say? Feeding two birds with one stone. No, with one scone. So I'm wondering, has any of you implemented a Safari extension or a Chrome extension? I've implemented a Chrome extension many years ago. It was even before I joined Google, so I don't know how many years ago that was. 15 years ago, or maybe even more. And it was an extension that would allow you to have the web page that you're looking at be read out to you using a voice API. It was on the Chrome Web Store for a very long time, but of course, Google and everybody else who runs those online stores make changes, and so at one point it basically got delisted because I didn't update it. So let's see, I've addressed both issues. Authentication method, I switched from sign with Google to email and password auth. CSP error by removing the sign in button, which loads external scripts. The content security policy is resolved. The new login form is built entirely with local HTML and CSS. Please reload. Clear all. And then refresh. Tap here. All right, cool. So, let's see if this account works. Ooh, okay. So that user apparently exists. So let's go into the mobile application and sign in as that user so we can see what is going on. So it's such a simple password, but still so hard to type. Okay, so we've got one. No, not now. It's easy enough for me to remember. Okay. Now let's go somewhere. Let's go to the Firebase blog. Oh, look at that. That's a new article that my colleague Miguel wrote about server-side templates for Firebase AI logic. Really nice article. I think I just haven't had time to read it, so let me save it. So save current page, boom, and there you go. Woohoo! Is that amazing? That is wild. I mean, like, yeah, that is very, very cool. I love it. All right, but, and that's the thing, it totally forgot to save the code, the simplified code. So let's take that URL. Let's go to mobile Safari and open a new tab. Well, there's got to be an easier way. So let's save this using the share sheet. And again, this is so annoying. I mean, like 2 extra tabs do that. Okay, so save, go back to the application. Oh, why did this not work? That is interesting. Oh, we might not be signed into the correct account here. Wow, that's not great. Okay, so this is definitely something that I need to fix. We might be able to work around this by relaunching the application. Let's do this. Yeah, here we go. Oops. Yeah, so this is the one that I, wait. Oh, yeah, so the application restarted using the account I was signed in previously, this one here. So apparently we're having some auth persistence issues. Tests at test.com. Still just those two. Okay, let's try saving this again. I worry a bit that it will still save that to the other account. Nope, this time it worked. Okay, so, and here you go. So the share sheet implementation saved the entire code, which is the correct way to do it. So that is something that is missing in the implementation of this year. But I'm pleasantly surprised that it was able to sign in and save. So that is already very good progress. So before we update the implementation to make sure that it also stores the simplified code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to also try the Safari extension. So here it says open terminal. Let's do that. Ooh, wow. That's quite a bit. So I'm going to go to workspace, bundle, brain, code, next. Go into the correct folder, code, front end. Okay, so now let's go into the, yeah, so this should be good. So hello? Oh, sorry. I think you weren't able to see my terminal, right? Oh, there you go. So here's my terminal. Let's make this larger. And then let me copy this code here. And then run this. So Swift Web Extension Converter, let's see what it does. Okay. It opened Xcode and we are now in, so it apparently created another app. Oh, wow. So no idea what this app is. So, but there is a bundle identifier. There is a web extension handler. We've got an app delegate, a scene delegate. There is even a launch screen, a storyboard. There is an app delegate, and we have our iOS extension, which we don't really need. And there is a macOS extension, and it says it's a Safari web extension. Okay, so we did that. Follow the prompts, you can accept defaults, open the generated extra project, run the Sophia extension scheme. Enable the extension in Safari preferences extensions. Let's try that. So we're in the correct project. It should probably have told me that I need to use the should use the Mac as a target. Let's see. Build failed. Signing requires a team. Well, let's use a team. That's quite interesting because, oh, wait. So we want to use this and then run it on my Mac. Yeah, so we want to run the Mac application. Build succeeded. Nice. Sophia's extension is currently off. You can turn it on in the extension section of Safari settings. Okay, quit and open Safari settings. Nice. So, where is it? It's not here. So let me first disable these to make it easier to see it. Okay, so let me. So it also said run the Sophia extension scheme. But how? Manage schemes. All right. What happens if we click auto create? Nothing. Nope. Assigned to run locally. Do I need to select a team maybe? Development. Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Let's try this again. So for everybody who's new, we are working on building a Chrome and a Safari extension that allows us to store URLs from your browser into my AI-powered Read It Later app. And we've been successful with, we're using Antigravity to do that. So basically agentic coding. And we've been successful in implementing this for Chrome. And at the moment, we're trying to figure out how this should work in Safari. And we've got a compile error. Embedded binary is not same with the same certificate. Okay, maybe I need to go back to doing it this way for development. Now it succeeded. But I can't see it. Okay, so there is probably something else we need to do. So let's ask. Okay, so I don't see a Sophia extension scheme. And also when I run the Sophia scheme for macOS, it does show me the main application, which says that the application is turned off, that the extension is turned off in Safari, and that I should enable it in Safari preferences. But when I go into Safari preferences, I can't see the Sophia extension. What is going wrong? What am I missing? So send this to review, and let's see what it comes back with. Okay, it seems that it thinks that I'm looking at the wrong project. Okay. Okay. I see what's happening. The Sophia project currently contains the iOS app and a share extension, but it does not yet contain a Safari web extension. Yeah, so, and then it explains that the xcrun command that we ran a couple of minutes ago creates a new Xcode project, and that is not part of our main project. So now, what are the solutions? Yes, so that is what we did. And then it says, well, you can also integrate it into the main project. Okay. Where should I be? No. In which folder should I run this command? Okay, so that's great to hear. So AI Simulation Studio built a city builder game yesterday with Antigravity. Nice. That sounds like a fun project. Certainly a lot more exciting than this, but this is a project of my heart. So, and it's something that I use in my daily work. So it's useful for me to work on this. But maybe, you know, over the holiday period, I might try out building a game. The last time I tried building a game, it was using Marmalade, I think, and I was trying to build a space shooter game, and that was also quite fun. You should run this command from the root of your project. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. That means, okay, let me close this. And maybe also just for good measure, we're going to close this as well. And then let me double check. So this is, oh, interesting. Okay, so this code we don't need. And then it wants us to go to this folder and run this command. Okay, so, but there is still no I mean, I can see this extension's target, but there is no extension scheme. Which makes sense because you can't run the extension on its own. It needs to be hosted in an application. That is the entire point why it created this whole thing here. Let's try this again. Okay, quit. Nope. Do I need to enable developer mode? Maybe. Let's ask. Okay, so first of all, let's try to give it a screenshot. And then say, okay, so I'm going to drop this here, and then, so I did that, and I'm in the correct project, I think, but I can't see a Sophia extension scheme. There is just the Sophia scheme and a Sophia extension target. have a look at this. Still, when I run this, I don't see the Sophia extension in Safari. Do I need to enable developer mode in Safari? Okay, so let's see. I really like how fast this is. So I've had times when I worked with agents and you had to wait for a really long time. So what does it say? You are absolutely correct, because this is a development build. You need to tell Safari how to allow it. Okay, let's do it. Go to Settings Advanced. Settings Advanced. Show features for web developers at the bottom. Yes. You will now see a developer menu. There you go. Allow unsigned extensions. Where's that? Developer settings. Allow unsigned extensions. Enter my password or my finger. Okay. Good. So let's try this again. Open the extensions. Oh, here we go. And now we've got multiple. So which one is the correct one? Let's enable this one. Nice. So, all right, let's give it a go. Oh, here we go. So it would like to access, allow this for 1 day. Nice. Here we go. Right, so sign in, save current page. And now I just need to go back into Xcode and open the main project and then run the main project on our simulator. But first we need to wait for the packages to resolve. And while we're waiting, I can answer Lars's questions. Are you working with Gemini 3 or which LLM is active? And yes, we use Gemini 3 Pro, and you can see that I'm using Gemini Pro High. So yes, it's the latest version. Good. So our packages have resolved, so we can run the main application again. And now when we run this and are still signed in as test@test.com, we should be able to see that article about how to map Firestore documents to Swift that I just saved from Safari. I think this is looking good. No. No, it's not. All right. Why? Let's put this over here. Well, there you go. Apparently, and it's there 2 times now. So apparently, we had a refresh issue. Let's go to somewhere else. Let's go to the latest newsletter and then save the current page. Oops, what is that? That is interesting. So let me, ooh. That is really interesting. Let's go to somewhere else. Maybe let's use this one. Nice. This also sounds like something I might be interested in reading. So save the current page. That is really wild. Why is it saving something different? What is that? That is really, really strange. Okay, so something is clearly a little bit funky here. I assume that there is a problem with how the data is added. Because let's take this URL and let's go into Safari, into mobile Safari, paste this here, and then save it from here. Share, save. Yeah, so this is correct. And now if I archive that, just one element goes away. So I assume that when it's saving, it's storing an incorrect ID. Let me quickly have a look at that. Let's ask. So when you're adding stuff via the Safari or the Chrome extension, I've noticed that there seems to be something wrong with the UID of the documents that you create at Firestore. For example, I can see duplicates, and when I store something, it seems to add something that is incorrect. But all of this works fine when I use the share sheet in the mobile application. So I assume that you're making a mistake when storing the UID. Do you make sure that the UID is computed automatically, or do you set this manually? Okay, so this is obviously me having background knowledge about Firestore. So if you're a new developer who doesn't have any idea about Firebase and Firestore, you probably wouldn't know that. So you'd probably say, well, when I add something, I can see duplicates. And then it would hopefully try to figure out how, where the problem is coming from. So it's now comparing nodes, and it's reading the iOS artifact remote store implementation to understand how that works. While we're doing that, looking at the stream backend, everything's looking good. Nice. So, what is going on? You were right. The issue was that the extension was relying solely on the Firestore generated document ID, but the iOS application expects an explicit ID field, a UUID, to be present in the document data as well. Can you show me the code that you changed? Why is it taking so long to just show me that file? Okay. Okay, so it should be that, right? And that is not what you should be doing. So because, oh wait, let's have a look at the iOS implementation. Artifact remote store, and here we go. And it's an add, right? So we have got, and let's, yep, it's late. So when we add an artifact in the iOS application, we get the current user from the user ID from the current user, and then we add the document. And the reason why it thinks, okay, so we have got an ID here, and it's a UUID string. Okay, so Firestore artifact at document ID. Yeah, so I think we store the ID for ordering purposes. Okay, let's give this a try. Let's go back into Safari. And then how do you reload that in Safari? Probably developer settings. I don't know. Let's ask. How do you reload the extension in Safari? Interesting. That is not what I asked about. Okay, so we need to rerun the application from Xcode. Let's do that. Okay, so open Safari settings. Oh, that is, okay, so maybe one of the problems is that we've got this installed 2 times, right? So this one seems to be the one that we've been using because it's got those websites enabled. And this one, let's remove this. Interesting. Well, we can do that. Where's Safari? Well, we'll turn this off. And that means it's gone. That is unexpected. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first of all, quit Safari. And then I'm going to delete this entire folder here. Then let's launch Safari again. Okay, no extensions, well, at least not Sophia. And then go back to Xcode, run our scheme. So I assume that that double extension there, that might be a result of me having run this with different schema configurations. So let's, hello, can I please get Safari? Why is that not working? Let's try this one more time. Oh, there's lots of error messages there. Okay, let's verify that we're doing the right thing. We have this, we run this on the Mac. Let's run this again. And I mean, it does run this. And here we go. And let's go to developer settings, allow unsigned extensions. No, I want to use my fingerprint. Interesting. So apparently you need to do that every time that you relaunch Safari. That's good to know. Here we go. Enable the extension, and here it is. Where is our simulator? Here we go. Let's add this again. That sounds better. Okay. I mean, it still has a problem that it doesn't fill out the simplified text, but that's something that we should be able to resolve now. Also, for good measure, let's go and reload this here. And then we'll just go and pick another article. So here you go. Here's another article about anti-gravity and Firebase MCP. Let's take that. I really should be reading that. And here is our extension in Chrome. And let's bring Safari over here so we can see it. Bam! And there you go. We've got this article saved as well, minus the article text. Okay, so let's see. And maybe first of all, let's also make sure that we properly version this. What was that? Okay, let's open this in Tower. So are we in the correct folder? Oh yeah, it's just so many files. So let's see. We don't need the dist folder, I would say. And to make that easier, I'm just going to delete the dist folder via so this should go, that should go. Safari, Chrome, and Shared apparently also can go because they're empty. Well, okay. All right, and now let's pause for a moment and wait until Tower has resolved that. Hello? All right, let's try this again. Here we go. Yep. So we have got the code that, oh wow. Oh yeah, that is the project configuration of our Firebase project. And here are all the files it created for us. And now, feature, implement, Chrome and Safari extensions. What is happening here? Oh, that is the application it generated for us. Let's leave that for now. I'll think about a different way to integrate that. But what I wanted to do is, first of all, accept all. So that is all good, done and dusted. And now, this is, well, let's double check. Okay, so I tested the Chrome extension and the Safari extension and they seem to be working fine, but there is one major flaw, and I think we discussed this previously. So when you're saving a URL to Sophia, you also need to take the source code of the URL of the entire web page and simplify it using something like Mozilla's Readability SDK. Can you please update the implementation plan and then show it to me so I can approve it? So I'm not telling it to just make the change because I want to see the implementation plan. So let's see. once the transcript of this episode is up, I will do a grep for "so let's see," and I bet you it's going to be one of the most frequent things that I've said throughout this stream. I've updated the implementation plan to explicitly address the content extraction and mapping. Previously, I was saving the HTML content into the full text field. I don't think so. Yes, that is absolutely what needs to be done. Oh yeah, full text is useful for the embeddings. Please review the updated plan. Let's do that. Here we go. Where is the update? Oh, that is maybe something that is a piece of feedback for the Antigravity team. It is hard for me to see what has changed in the implementation plan. And this is a relatively simple implementation plan, but just imagine if you had a large application and it would have many more steps than this. So let's see. Proposed changes. Pop-up UI, content script. So here we go. Extract readable content, use readability to do that, data mapping. Yes, that sounds good to me. We can proceed. And now we should be able to see the changes. So here's a change. It imports the readability, but we need to npm install that first before we can use it. So hopefully it does that. Let's see. I have updated the extension to correctly handle the page content, but it did not rebuild. Okay. Mate, I think you forgot to rebuild. Yep. Okay. So now it's rebuilding. Here are the node modules. So it's downloading the internet for us. Here is the dist folder, the icons, source. And now, please wait a moment for the build to finish. Well, it seems like it's finished. Reload this here, reload it. Let's go to another one. Bring any idea to life with Gemini 3 and Firebase AI logic. Let's bring the simulator to the front. Hello. And here we go! Ta-da! Awesome. Yeah, the launch of Gemini 3, that was a really nice birthday present. Nice. So let's finally check if this also worked in Safari. So in order to do that, we'll need to rebuild this and rerun this. Okay, why? I mean, it is enabled. So apparently, I don't know, like the communication between the app and the extension, that seems to be something that we need to optimize. Let's take another of Donnie's articles. What is approachable concurrency in Xcode 26? Let's get our simulator to the front. And here we go. And ta-da! Nice. This is so nice. Ah, this is great. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the clock. So we've been streaming for 1 hour and 37 minutes, and we've implemented a Safari extension, we've implemented a Chrome extension. They save readable HTML to the application. they have sign in with email and password. It's still missing sign in with Apple, but that's something that we can implement next time. But I'm really happy with what we've been able to achieve. And let's take another look at the diff. So these are the changes. Yeah, it's not much, to be honest. So we'll just add that. Oh wait, let's use Antigravity. So I know there is, oh my god, no. So it says there are 9,000 changes. Obviously that is not correct. These are probably all the files in the dist and node modules folder. Okay, let's see. Can we ignore them? So here's our graph. Here are the changes. These are the stage changes. So you can probably tell that I'm not a good person with source control in VS Code. Ignore this item. Ignore this item. So that's so much easier. Okay. No, it's just 28 changes. Which, oh yeah, it's still that. Okay. So there is this generate commit message button. Let's try this one. Cooking. And now it's thinking. Maybe first think, then cook. All right. So feature, initialize multi-platform Sophia application with a Safari web extension and shared components. I don't think so. So let's ask here. So taking everything that we did in this conversation into consideration, can you please suggest a commit message and a description for me? So typically this ends up being a better description than the one that you get when you use that button. So let's see what we get. It's also often very verbose. Yeah, here you go. Add Safari and Chrome extensions for saving URLs. So that is a lot better, I think. And then implemented browser extensions using Vite, TypeScript, and Firebase Web SDK. Yeah, I like that. This sounds great. Can you please use this message and commit the stage changes? Okay. And that looks good. Run. I've staged and committed your changes with the suggested. Did it? Did you know? Really? I'm not so sure. You sure about that? Because I can't, I mean, it should have committed those two files. And they're still here. So it would have been faster if I just taken that message and committed it myself. But anyways, let's see. Okay, so stream still doing good on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Nice. But here we're still thinking. Okay, I'll give it another couple of seconds, and if not, I mean, okay, so wait. So Antigravity also has those modes for how it should perform actions. And currently it's set to auto, and that means the agent decides when it's safe to run commands and when it should ask. You can also set it to off, and that means it would always ask. And if you set it to turbo, it will just never ask. So that I probably wouldn't use. So now it's going to double check. Yep, I'm happy to run that command. Yeah, please don't stage those files though. Hello? Well, okay, so I think I'm just going to do that manually for whatever reason. It failed on me. So go here, commit subject, boom. And then, oh yeah, commit, bam, that's it. Nice. Very cool. So, and with that, we're at the end of the stream. We've managed to implement not just one, but two extensions, two browser extensions using Antigravity. It saves the URL to the application after asking the user to authenticate, and it even downloads the readable version of the HTML. So that is everything that the share sheet in the mobile application also does, and that is fantastic. So really happy with the result, and I think I'm going to use Antigravity more. Also, as you saw in the beginning, it's not yet set up to support Swift really well, so I want to spend more time on exploring how to do that properly, and also if it's able to write good Swift code, and if not, write some agent files to make that better. So maybe I'll do that on the stream. Maybe it's going to be a separate stream. I'm not sure yet, but definitely stay tuned. And I hope to see you on the next stream. So don't worry, these streams will continue, even if there is sometimes a break of a couple of weeks. I was pretty busy recording and editing videos. So that is why I've been silent on this channel a little bit, but don't worry, we'll do more streams. So keep on checking back, and also, you know the drill, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so that you get notified whenever I go live again. Also, if you watch this on LinkedIn, thank you. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. And next time, you know that we also stream on YouTube and the resolution is higher, so you get to choose if you watch from the comfort of LinkedIn or if you come over to YouTube where the resolution is higher. And with that, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.